The northeast of Iceland is quite an exciting place in terms of whale research, purely because it is really unstudied. It's a very remote part of Iceland. There's been next to no whale research there. And so there are a lot of question marks about which species live there, when they're there, how they use the area in terms of feeding and migrating and other important behaviours. We are at the very tip of the Langanes Peninsula, so we're in the far northeast of Iceland. So Langanes, when it comes to whales, is a bit of a wild card. We've heard reports of lots of whales here, and in 2019 we came for one day and we actually saw loads of humpbacks. What's great about Langanes, as you can kind of see with this view, is there's not much around in terms of human activity. There aren't many people, there aren't many boats, and that means that for the whales that are here, there's not a huge amount of disturbance. And so we started to become more interested in this enigma of an area in terms of whales, and especially humpbacks, because that was what we saw. We decided that we wanted to learn more about this area in terms of cetaceans, when they were there, where they are, and how they're using the area. Not really. It all started with a hydrophone deployment. And with Amelie, we coordinated the deployment of a hydrophone in August 2021. After we retrieved the hydrophone, Amelie started listening to these recordings just to try and understand what was there. We were expecting to hear primarily humpback whales in summer. What was really interesting is we heard loads of whale song activity in winter. In order to make this the strongest possible research project, ideally you would do another hydrophone deployment. You ready?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. So we deployed that in July 2024, and we conducted visual observations for 2 periods in different seasons to pair acoustic recordings with simultaneous visual observations. So we watched for about 3 weeks in summer, in June, July 2024, when we deployed the hydrophone, and then for 3 weeks in January, February 2025. Good morning, it is the 10th of July 2024, the time is 7:07:03. We are on morning watch for scan sampling at the High Fell Cottages site. Beautiful conditions this morning, and we're going to have Tom on binoculars, Alyssa on theodolite, and yeah, okay, we're going to start.
This is our first day of being in Northeast Iceland in Finnafjörður. And as you can tell, it's pretty snowy. Yeah, I'll be interested to see what we can do.
Alyssa, it's so snowy. Oh, sorry.
So it's day 3 of our winter fieldwork, and apparently it's the biggest snowstorm in winter.
Let's have a look at weather. Always a fun thing to do because the weather's always so good in Iceland. As our walk confirmed, it is too windy today. It's going to dark blue, which means very windy. Looking after that, to be honest, the forecast is okay considering we're in winter. Cold on Monday, no snow, might be calm enough.
It's sunny. We're very excited. Fingers crossed for some whales, but it's amazing. And it feels really warm because the wind's gone. It's like -3 out. It's balmy. It's a balmy day.
We actually lived with one of the only residents around Finnafjörður, Reimar Sigurjónsson, and he's absolutely lovely. We were really lucky we were able to stay with him for a few weeks, and his 2 dogs, Stígur and Laura. And every day that the weather allowed, which wasn't very many days because of the snow and the wind and the rain and the darkness, we walked up the hill behind his house and we watched for whales.
No, Stígur.
I think at about 80 degrees. I've just seen one blow. I'm fairly confident it was a blow. And so it's a bit to the right of the mountain. It's just amazing knowing that every sighting that we have is such big new evidence. It's such important new evidence to say, hey, look, there are whales here in January. Scientists didn't know that before, and now we do.
Supposed to get a lot calmer. We have been out here for about 2 weeks now, and we have had one day where we've seen whales, which we knew coming here in winter it could possibly be like that. And with the combination of snowstorms and wind, it just has made it pretty challenging. The wind has picked up a lot now, which you can probably hear in the background, but it's still disappointing when you don't see them. But I'm glad we've seen them at least once. There was that bump.
I know there is a bum. The weather was frustrating because sometimes it felt like it never let up. But then you'd wake up on the odd day and it was just beautiful and it felt so special.
It's at 82 degrees. Yeah, definitely dolphins. They've moved this way now.
What's also important about a place like Finnafjord is I said that human activity was low, and it is low, but it's not absent, and it's important that it's not absent, and in a way it's really good that it's not absent. There are coastal communities that rely on Finnafjord and the surrounding waters for healthy fisheries. And so when we are studying these whales to try and understand how human activity might impact them in the future, we're not just working to protect these whales, we're also working with these communities to protect the resources available to these communities, to protect the culture and the livelihoods of these communities. As scientists, I think that very often we lose sight of the fact that our central role, our purpose, is to tell stories. Stories of nature, stories of the ocean, in this case, stories of the whales that we're interested in. And the thing about telling stories is you can't force a story to tell itself. You have to be witness to those stories, you have to be present for those stories to be told. And that requires a lot of patience. But I think as long as you are prepared to wait it out, prepared to be patient, then the story will be there for you to tell. And that's really beautiful.
I'm very happy that we'll be back. That this isn't the end. It was just a piece of the puzzle. And we've got a beautiful morning to drive back on.